Welcome to tonight's meditation class. We will meditate for about an hour. So if you're not used to sitting on the floor for an hour and you're experimenting with like sitting on the floor, not moving at all for an entire hour, and you're not sure you can do that, you might want to sit in a chair instead. Yes. Somebody has to do that for me. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we're talking and we're just checking the sound level. Anyway, so yeah, don't be brave in this case. Sit in a chair instead. Other than that, I'll lead a guided meditation, and you can follow along as much or as little as you want. That's it, basically. So let's get going. So first, just check out how you're doing right now. Tune into thoughts, tune into emotions, tune into body sensation in the simplest way, not in some special meditative way. Just see how you're doing. And as usual, if you've been here before, you know what comes next, which is however you're doing, no matter how beautiful or difficult, no matter how pleasant or painful, no matter how twisted up or completely flapping in the breeze and loose it all is, just don't change it at all. Just allow yourself for the next hour to be exactly how you are. Letting go of any agenda to control, suppress, improve, purify, clarify, anything at all, and instead simply allow yourself to be the way you are. And see if from this agenda, this non-agenda of non-control, this stance of non-aggression towards the self, we can begin at first to just relax a little bit physically. Not in the sense of, okay, I'm going to start doing yoga on my meditation cushion in order to force some stretching and relaxation to start to happen, because again, that's in the agenda zone. But instead, just simply let go of any voluntary tension that you can let go of. So in other words, if you're on purpose keeping your face tense or your arms or hands tense because you just forgot you were doing that, it's okay to just relax and let go a little bit, so that we're not trying to do big stretches or anything because we're staying real still, but rather just allowing release to occur. Just allowing some softness and gentleness to come into the body by letting go of tension. And very often when I lead people in relaxation, I hear the feedback, yeah, but I wasn't relaxed enough. And I was trying to get rid of some tension here or there. And what we're doing right now is not like that. It's just, again, when you just kind of take a nice deep breath and let go of doing anything on purpose with your body, that's as much relaxation as we're talking about, just enough to feel a little bit of openness coming in, a little bit of release, a little bit of room. happening, even if it's just, 2% more. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be, in fact, quite a small deal in terms of the amount of relaxation, and still bring about this sense of letting go of the agenda to control, the agenda to improve, the agenda to somehow change our state. And now, just begin with an interesting way of opening to your experience, which is again checking out kind of the general state of mind and body. Remembering that even though our individual experiences are incredibly unique, that in another way, the feelings we have are simply human feelings, probably even animal kingdom feelings. And so, however you're feeling, no matter how depressed, no matter how angry, no matter how terrified, or maybe bored, or just annoyed, or mildly amused, or whatever is going on for you, just introduce the mood. Other people feel this too. Just recognize that however you're feeling, other people feel that way too. The reasons and ideas around it are all unique, but the feelings themselves, other people feel these feelings too. Just open up to that. If you're tired and nodding out, remember, sit up straight, open your eyes, use your just a little bit of a little more tension in the spine to kind of wake up just slightly. Eyes open really helps. As well as having just had a bunch of chai, that helps too. At Vicks. Other people feel this too. It's not, you're not alone in your feelings. It's not unique. And other people feel it too. And just notice, that's a very simple idea, but notice how it softens and opens your heart a little bit. Not quite so armored up and defended and alone in your emotional world. Other people feel this too. It's a simple idea, and yet very profound in terms of its effects. And then we'll just take this right into traditional Tonglen practice. You can do it at first just for yourself. So on the in-breath, feeling all your difficulties, sadness, suffering, unpleasant emotions, unpleasant situations, breathing that in, even though it's, in a sense, you're already feeling it, but we're breathing that in. And then on the out-breath, we are sending to ourselves joy, peace, freedom, openness, health, kindness, caring, gentleness. Almost as if you're a separate being from yourself. Just breathe in, and on the in-breath, notice all the difficulties. And on the out-breath, beam to yourself with an open heart, a sense of kindness and caring, of healing, of peace, of safety, of comfort. Now, very often people will report, well, I didn't feel gigantic, overwhelming emotions of love and compassion. And of course, if that's happening, great. It's much more important that you just open up to yourself with kindness rather than some agenda to have a gigantic emotion. It's not, basic kindness isn't even an emotion. It's just a way of being. Gentleness and caring. It's not about having a big emotion, but opening up to yourself with gentleness, kindness, caring, and notice how this echoes. This agenda that we had earlier, given up, right? It echoes the way that we are letting go of trying to control and improve and judge and suppress and all that ourselves. And instead here we're simply feeling how we feel and then beaming or radiating or sending ourselves kindness and openness and wishes for healing and safety and comfort. Now, this can be very subtle. It's not necessarily a big experience or some kind of trippy visualization, but you'll feel that shift in the mood towards yourself. To something much more kind, much more gentle, much more caring. And again, I invite you to just feel whatever you're feeling. Even if what you're feeling really is no fun, let those feelings be there just the way they are. One whole way of describing meditation is that we're just not going to avoid what we're feeling. We're going to, by, distraction or addiction or all the ways that we avoid what we're feeling. Workaholism. And instead, just plunk your butt down on the cushion and just feel what you feel. And then from that place of feeling what we're feeling, which can be difficult sometimes, we're breathing that in, noticing how it feels, and then breathing out to ourselves a sense of joy and kindness, a sense of openness, caring, sweetness, even if it's just a little bit. So let's do that together here for a while. Notice if you're judging yourself, like, oh, I'm not doing a very good job of this, or I should be doing it different or better. It's like, just to whatever extent you can, just let go of anything like that and simply feel how you're feeling. Breathe in the difficulties and then breathe out, in a sense. Radiate from your being some kindness to yourself, some forgiveness to yourself, some joy and openness towards yourself. Just that. What I'd like you to do is to think of someone you care about deeply. Just anyone who you are really close with, who you care about very deeply. And do the same thing now for them. So in your imagination, you know how they're doing, you know their trials and tribulations. And so on the in-breath, bring all that into yourself. Take it from them. Breathe in the pain, breathe in the suffering, breathe in the difficulties, breathe in the sickness, breathe in all the discomfort into yourself. And from a place of real sweetness and kindness and gentleness within yourself, radiate out to them love, peace, kindness, joy, healing, safety, comfort. And so on each in-breath, you're taking in all the worst stuff. And on each out-breath, you're, in a sense, giving away any good stuff you've got, any joy, any healing, any peace, any safety, any comfort, and giving it to them in a spirit of generosity and openness. So each in-breath, taking, Tonglen means giving and taking, right? So on the in-breath, we're taking all the difficult material. On the out-breath, we're giving all the good stuff. And we're picturing them thriving. So let's do that together for a little while here. And notice any resistance you have to doing that, like you're afraid you'll get their sickness or something. Just notice that, and then continue to open up. Continue to find a little spark of softness in your heart and generosity in your spirit, and just give to them all the good stuff. When you're breathing in all this difficulty, it just completely is annihilated by the vast, spacious awakeness within. It doesn't stick to anything. There's no place it's gathering up in your being. It's just vanishing into wide open, wide awakeness. Your own Buddha nature is vaporizing it. And then from that same place of wide awake, wide openness, there's an endless reservoir of kindness and caring and peace and safety and comfort that flows outward to them. And understanding this infinite reservoir of peace and kindness and love within, open up now to all your loved ones. And of course, it doesn't have to be humans. It can also be animals and various types of companions. But again, same thing. On the in-breath, we're taking in all their difficulties, all their suffering, all their problems, all their sickness, all their suffering into ourselves. And then on the out-breath, any goodness we've got, any relief, any peace, any kindness, any caring, it's like you're just giving it away. You're just freely just giving it away. Take it. In your mind, not only seeing all their difficulties coming in, but seeing them receiving the kindness and caring and the rest. See them joyous and thriving and healthy and happy. And now expanding the circle of concern a little bit from just people we like, or people we know, or people we have a connection to people who we maybe don't know that well, or we maybe a little bit. But let's do this Tonglen practice for everyone else in the room here. Just opening up to the whole sangha and breathing in all that pain and all that difficulty and all that worry and care and anxiety and depression. Breathe it all in. There's like 60 people here, so that's a lot. Breathe it in. And then on the out breath, you know what to do. Beam out to all the people here, love, kindness, caring, peace, joy, etc. But everyone else is doing Tonglen too, so you may feel not only that you're beaming it out, but you're also receiving it. We're all in this together. And just find that spark of kindness within you and just let that radiate out from the heart into all the people here. Every single person, no matter how messed up they are, no matter what bad deeds they've done, no matter how much their brain is sick, there's still a spot of real kindness in there. It's always there to be accessed. It's always there to recontact and allow to beam out its loving kindness, its compassion, its joy, its equanimity, and so on. Very good. Now expanding the circle of concern quite a bit. It's very easy for us to offer kindness to those we love or people we know or whatever, but let's expand it to just everybody. And for now, everyone will mean all the humans and animals and any other kind of being on Earth. So that's quite a bit of suffering. It's quite a bit of pain. Just open up to that, and on the in-breath, breathe it all in. All the terror, all the despair, all the grief, all the sickness, all the harm. Just breathe that all in, remembering that the vast open space of awake awareness is limitless. It can take in and transform any amount of that, even whole worlds worth. So don't hold back, just really breathe it in. And then on the out breath, from that same limitless source, radiate out pure kindness to every being on earth. Pure sweetness, pure forgiveness, pure healing, pure safety, pure comfort, pure love. Don't let up. Keep doing it. There's a whole world of beings to free. If we get good at this, we can even go to the hells and free all the beings there. But we'll start out with planet Earth. Okay, good. Now let go of that. And just simply from a place of, again, this wide open, unfixated awakeness. Simply sit with how you're feeling. So we're not narrowly trying to like focus on particular body sensations or whatever. Instead, just in a wide open way, just feel how you're feeling. Non-judgmentally. It's not about this or that feeling. It's just how the face feels, how the throat feels, how the chest feels, how the belly feels, how the whole body, both regular physical sensations and emotional type sensations, how they feel. And if at any point you start to grab on to thinking about that, just disengage from the thinking and come back to the feeling. Wide open, really relaxed, really easeful presence, just presence. The minute we're locked into thinking, we're no longer present. So even if thoughts are happening, which is fine, they'll continue to happen, they can be there, but we're not locked into them. And if we are, we just let go. We come back to simple presence. Simply being right here, right now, wide open, wide awake. Not spinning wool, no stories gathering in our heads. Just present. may notice in a simple way the breath wave rising and falling. That's a body sensation. You may notice as you let go of thinking, or I should say, let go of engaging with thinking, because we're not stopping thoughts, we're just not engaging. As we let go of engagement with thinking, we can't escape what we're feeling, so that can be kind of difficult. But also, we know what we're feeling. And we learn to sit with it. All through our lives, the training is to escape it or change it. So it's a training in never feeling okay with how we feel. And now we're going to undo that training. We're going to just sit with how we feel. And not try to escape it. And not try to change it. Just keep coming back to just presence. Just be here in the room right now. Don't time travel into the past or the future in your mind. Don't even distract with thoughts of the present. Just be presence itself. We're not doing this through some kind of suppression or control. It's just every time you notice you've grabbed onto thinking, just relax, let go of it. Come back to presence. You may have to do it hundreds of times. That's okay. Don't get in a fight with your mind. Just relax away from engagement with thought. If sitting in presence with your own feelings is real hard, you can do some more Tonglen for yourself. Other people feel this. And then breathing in your own suffering and breathing back to yourself peace and kindness and caring. Otherwise, we're just allowing our minds to be wide open, unfixated, uncongealed, liquid. Sitting in presence. Letting go of any engagement with thought at all. Just come back to presence. Feeling what you're feeling. Hearing the sounds of the room. If your eyes are open, just seeing whatever you're seeing without really moving them around too much. Simple presence in openness. Notice it's not some kind of special, hyper-focused, dissociative trance. It's simple, open presence. from here, you notice that engagement with thought itself is a kind of dissociative trance. And we just let go of that, come back into presence. Very good. Now, today's the highest holy day of Buddhism. It's Wesak, or Buddha Purnima. The full moon of this month is the Buddha's birthday. And so it's actually a whole 2-week, in Tibet it's a whole 2-week festival, but this is the peak. So we'll do a little chanting from here of the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra, which is the mantra of great compassion, and a very appropriate mantra to do for the practice we've been doing tonight of Tonglen. So in case you have not heard this before, the mantra is Om Mani Padme Hum. And we'll sing it in such a way, if you've ever been in a choir, to take breaths whenever you want, so that everyone's taking a breath at a different time, so we don't have these big gaps in the chanting. The other thing is, don't chant from the thinking mind. Just let this open awakeness itself chant. Okay, it's a different energy. The chant just pops out. It's not a thing you're really doing. It's just something that space is manifesting. If you notice, if you try to do space manifesting, that's hard. But it would be nice if it were with a lot of energy. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Padme Hum, Om Mani 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 Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Now just rest with that energy of the infinite awakeness and compassion is present in the room, allowing any goodness or pleasantness or good karma or anything like that that we've accumulated from doing this to just be radiated out to everyone everywhere. Just give it away like candy. Everybody have some. We're not hanging on to it. Okay. Let's end the meditation there. When we're not feeling so good, there can be a real tendency to kind of, I don't know, feel sorry for ourselves and kind of collapse down a little bit, and to imagine that it's somehow special, unique suffering. No one's ever been in this position or this situation, and it's somehow almost unique, right? It's our own special suffering, and we kind of hold on to it in a weird way. Like if someone else says, "Oh, I know what you're feeling," it's almost kind of an insult. You don't know what I'm feeling. This is special. This is really this unique flavor of shittiness that I concocted. No one else has ever felt before anywhere. We'll almost defend it. And sure, having someone pretend to reach out, if it's done in an insincere way, having someone kind of say how they felt bad too can sort of be annoying. But the truth is that whatever, as I said, no matter how unique your situation is, and it is in fact totally, utterly unique, the suffering is not unique. That's what people feel. Emotions are emotions, and probably not just people. Probably, at least all mammals feel that same suffering. In the feeling part, the thinking part, that's all kinds of other stuff. But we're setting that aside, right? And just feeling the feelings. And the feelings are universal, right? So recognizing just the simplest possible move of just going, I'm not alone in these feelings. Other beings feel this. Maybe not all of them right in this moment, but on a planet of billions and billions, and if we include like other beings, like many billions, other beings are feeling this too. And we open up to that, even just that, letting go of our unique, special little suffering that we're hanging on to as some kind of identity marker, really relaxes something very deep. And it might not, suddenly everything feels good. That's not what I mean, but that stiffness and the armoredness and the crystallized contraction around it starts to soften and loosen and open and maybe even melt a little bit. And of course, that's the magic. We want to unfixate. Today's the big, as I say, the birthday of the Buddha. It's the highest holy day of Buddhism, if you want to put it that way. In this full moon energy, it's really big. And what's the difference between, your regular, the flaming garbage dump of your regular mind and your fully awakened Buddha nature? What's the difference? Just this, that the regular mind is frozen. It's crystallized and brittle. And the Buddha mind is that same mind melted and flowing. Right? It's literally exactly the same quote unquote water, just in a different state. So that when we fixate, when we hang on, when we grab, when we tighten, when we Velcro onto our experience, that's when we're back in all the troubles, and really almost like hanging on to them on purpose. It's a very odd feature that we all have. Since we all have it, I guess it's not odd, but it's still weird. Like I want to hang on to my problems in this almost avaricious, kind of greedy little way, or specialness way. But when we let go of that, when we let it, just the same exact mind just flow freely, the same exact emotions just liquefy and flow in an unfixated, ungrippy, non-tight, non-constricted, non-collapsed, non-way. Freedom is there, right? Freedom, that's it. There's your awake, fully free experience. That's available right now. All you got to do, unfixate. Right? Just even for a moment. It's only a moment of unfixatedness, but that's a moment of being the Buddha. Right? And then it all comes back. But that's just a habit, and habits can be unlearned. So it's not so far away. It's not so difficult. It's not so hard to achieve. If you go back to those original sermons of the Buddha, 400 or 500 people would get enlightened every time he talked, right on the spot. Because it's not all that hard to wake up and unfixate, especially if you have someone with that much presence of unfixatedness helping you to notice that. So yeah, just noticing other people feel this too releases something. And then the next thing we did, much, much, much more powerful, to let go of that armored boundary we have with the world, right? And to recognize that in our own awake nature, there's no limit to, in our regular human nature, there's just so much you can take. There's only so much craziness and pain and suffering you can possibly take. But the awakeness, the openness itself, it's limitless. And so from that place of awakeness, from that place of wide openness, from the place of boundlessness, we can just start to take on the pain, take on the suffering, take on the difficulties, and then breathe out kindness and caring and just peace to the world, right? And what's weird is the more you do that, you think you might feel like eventually just covered with suffering and pain and disease and collapse, right? And that all the goodness went away. But notice how you feel after you do that, right? It's usually quite uplifting and quite nourishing, because you're dwelling in your own awake nature when you do that. Doesn't mean it feels good. It's not like I did Tonglen and now I'm just skipping down the street necessarily, because it can be real. There's a lot of grief there, right? It's a lot of pain. So it's not necessarily like, hey, but it's definitely open and present and available and real. Right? And that particular flavor is much more important than like, yeah. Right? You're there. You are present to what's happening around you. You're available for connection. You are in a way responsible. You're ready to take action in the world around you to help. So the reservoir of just resource has been refilled. It's just so odd that by giving it away and taking on the difficulties, actually it's somehow filling your tank to just do more and to not be so shy and afraid or sensitive. It's the funny thing, if you continuously try to avoid difficulty, continuously try to avoid pain, continuously try to avoid people who are having a hard time, continuously try to avoid any bad feelings in any way, you just get more and more small, right? Your world gets smaller and smaller. The things you can tolerate become fewer and fewer, right? It's weird. It's actually somehow that thing of becoming real sensitive to suffering can actually just kind of, eventually all you can do is just sit in a cave because everything else is too painful. So this is like taking that logic and flipping it on its head and just being like, okay, I'm open to all experience. I'm ready to engage. And the more you do it, the more you work with that, your tolerance grows, right? You're able to do more, to be more, to make more of a splash in your environment in a very positive way. So that's a little bit about Tonglen. That practice was almost lost. Nobody knows what it was invented in India, but the Sanskrit name is lost. Only one person kind of like plucked it from dying in 1,000 years ago, right? It had died out in India, and then some teachers way off in Malaysia. So they'd learned it in India, but taken it as far as Malaysia. They were still practicing it there. So Atisha, Indian teacher, took a boat from India to Malaysia, which back then was considered, extreme hardship. Big, long, difficult, dangerous journey, pirates, bad weather, not that great of boats, etc., etc. Went there, found the last living teacher of this, learned it from them, and brought it back to India, and then eventually to Tibet, where it really took off. So we only have the Tibetan name for it, Tonglen. In English, we tend to say Tonglen, because that just sounds like the way we break up the syllables, but it's Tonglen, meaning receiving and giving. So giving and taking, something like that. Taking on the difficulties, giving out the blessings. It's a bodhisattva activity, right? Some part of you is already a bodhisattva. Some part of you has always already been a wide awake, wide open Buddha. This is just manifesting the activity of a bodhisattva, which is, I'll come back to earth as many lifetimes as necessary to free everyone. I'll come back to this universe as many lifetimes as necessary to free everyone in all the hells, and even free all the people in the heaven realms, right? When we're doing the thing and we're going Om Mani Padme Hum, and then suddenly I'm like, Om, single syllables, right? Each of those syllables is freeing beings in a different realm, right? Ma is another realm, Ni is another realm, freeing all the beings. When we get to the last one, Hum, that's where that Hum is a really super powerful seed syllable. That's where we're freeing all the beings in hell. So each of those syllables, Om Mani Padme Hum, is at least the visualization, the traditional idea is freeing a whole separate universe of beings. So that's the mood. That's a bodhisattva activity, right? And so you may not be feeling very much like a bodhisattva today. Maybe your butt kind of hurts, and you sort of nauseous or something. That's okay. The wide awake, wide openness within you is what even feels that. That's how you know that's even there. The wide awake, wide openness is the ground of all experience. It's always there, and that's your own Buddha nature. So never doubt it. So, who has the microphone to pass around? Anybody? Did anybody do that? We're going to open it up to comments and questions or just reports. Thank you, Emily. I really appreciate it. And so if you have anything you'd like to share or a question you'd like to ask, raise your hand and Emily will bring that microphone around to you. Remember that it's going out live to the internet. So it's not just us in this room.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, who are you?
I'm Ricardo.
Hey, Ricardo.
Yeah. We know from the Tantra courses.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Diana. So thank you for doing this, first of all. I mean, this is awesome. And
thanks for coming. Did you come over? Where'd you come from today?
Today from San Francisco, from San Bruno. I'm staying with a friend.
Okay.
And before that, I was in Austin for a 30-day retreat. And before that, I'm coming from Chile.
Yeah, nice. What 30-day retreat did you do?
I did a retreat with Beth Upton.
Oh, okay.
You know her?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I mean, not personally, but I know that there's a teacher named Beth Upton.
And you know the tradition, the lineage. Yeah. So today, in addition to being the Buddha's birthday, is the day where he became fully awakened, right?
Yep.
I think so. Do you think when that happened, right? I think he touched the earth, right? Everything. You think that's from that moment on, he never became fixated again? Is that your reading of what fully awakened means?
I mean, in a way, the real answer is find out. I mean, speculating about the state of the Buddha, I don't know. You know, of course, traditionally, I'd say, nope, never fixated again. But do I know that? I don't know that. But I would say you can know that by just becoming unfixated over and over again. Every time you fixate, just relax. Every time you fixate, just relax. If you go, am I fixated on that? Relax and just unfixate on that thought. If you really want someone to witness your non-fixation, you can touch the earth. And that's Bhumi Sparshan, right? The earth witness. So the earth will witness your unfixatedness. At least traditionally, that's what will happen. So because we can use elements as witnesses. So this is the earth element. But that's how it would be talked about traditionally. Since it's a big Buddhist holiday, I'm talking in the language of Buddhism more than usual today. So you can just touch the earth. Very good. So good to see you, Ricardo.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Thank you for this beautiful Tonglen session. I was able to do it from not me.
Sure.
So it was quite beautiful to be able to have that prompt and be able to access the one that can hold everything and has endless available to give and hold. And I guess I could still feel like the self partially. And I guess I was curious, because like the Sarah self has certain suffering she's particularly committed to destroying in some way or transmuting, annihilating. And I was curious, with sort of the visualization practice, is it most helpful to really let the one that is endless, actually see what is arising to bring in? Or is it helpful to have like the assistant Sarah be like, and here we go with this suffering, and then I don't know does that make sense?
Sure. Just recognize that little sock puppet, Sarah, is just the awakeness with a sock puppet. So
okay.
they're not really separate.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no deep separation. It's even the stuff that we think of as the egoic mind doing all of that is still just awakeness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's just let go of the idea that they're separate.
Okay. Yeah.
And the more you relax into the practice, you'll see it starts doing itself. I mean, pretty powerfully.
Yeah. I could feel some of that. And then there were moments where if there was a suffering that can hook me, then it kind of became a little more forced. So then I just
which is still okay, right? Just be gentle with that, let it happen. But the the sense of self is not our enemy. It's a sock puppet that we use to do stuff in the world. So it's perfectly wonderful utility, right? We want to be friendly with that. We're not against it. We're not trying to crush it or make it dissolve or disappear or somehow negate it or anything like that. We just don't want to pretend to be it. Mm-hmm. So, if sometimes it acts like it's doing more in the meditation or not, it's no big deal. Just relax, right? And come back to the awakeness that's really manifesting everything.
I have a follow-up kind of. There is a point sometimes when there's some suffering that's like too much for Sarah.
Sure.
I will like sort of embody like embody Radiant Tara or like Avalokiteshvara or something. Sure. Is that kind of like a helpful way to get to reconnect to that endless sort of space?
Certainly super traditional, if you can do it, it works perfectly well, right? Just take on being a deity, a Buddhist deity, since your own awake awareness is the same thing as Avalokiteshvara. It's not really that pretend.
I just wasn't sure if that's like cheating or something.
It's the opposite of cheating.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it's helpful.
Sometimes we can do, like a full deity yoga practice first, but sometimes just the essence of deity yoga practice is just I am the deity, right? So bringing that up can sometimes make the Tonglen seemingly more powerful, seemingly more effective, but also you can, as you said, take more.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. like a little helpful outfit to put on for the sock puppet, and then it gets back to its bigger nature.
But again, it's not pretend. It feels like we're pretending, but the awakeness is that. So it's one thing to pretend to be a brain surgeon when you're not. It's like you can get in trouble for that and maybe cause some real harm. But pretending to be a fully awakened being is pretending to be what you actually are.
And that's, I think, was what allowed me to kind of go from sock puppet to be like, oh yeah, bigger sock puppet or bigger thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Sarah.
Hey.
Hi.
So I've been having lots of migraines lately, and this particular practice, the Tonglen, is really good for them. And I've
good for helping them.
Yeah, clearing them.
Good.
And that and cold showers, but yeah. And I was wondering, in your experience, or experiences you know of, is the thought energy that we talk about, is that kind of the same flavor as migraine energy, but just more subtle?
The real answer is I don't know, right? It's like a medical question, but I would say that in terms of let's just say my experience, and I don't have a lot of experience with migraines, but some, the thought energy and the migraine energy are different. Okay. Thought energy is the activity of thinking. And migraine energy is more like just physical energy. So as n equals 1 and anecdotal and all that is, that's how I can answer that question.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Glad to see you're getting some relief from that. Okay. Let's do the last one here.
Hi, my name is Joanna.
Hi,
Thank
Joanna.
you for hosting this Tonglen meditation on the Buddha's birthday. I was wondering if you can say a little bit more about, you mentioned animal instinct. I think ever since I was attacked on the street, and I've been attacked on the street several times actually, living in an urban area by men, I've been in a very primal state.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I was like raised in a different meditation style. Like I did a lot of Kundalini.
Sure. Me too. Yeah.
And a lot of metta meditation. So I let my body move and then sometimes try to invoke stillness. But with that, I think it also allows a lot of that animal instinct to come in.
Sure.
Could you say maybe a little bit more about what that animal instinct is and like our relationship to the animal instinct in our meditation and purity
Sure.
practice?
Sure. Backing up, what I was talking about was that our emotions and animal emotions are probably the same emotions. Like the way we feel sad, if you just aren't engaging with thought, just the sensation of sad in a person, it's probably the same sad in a dog or in a whale or something, right? That's what I was talking about, that emotional sensations are the same in the animal kingdom. I bet. Am I a whale? No. So I don't know, but I bet. Secretly, I'm a whale. But, you didn't, I never said that in public. So that's what I was talking about. I never mentioned instinct. So I think you're talking about like urges and cravings and like difficult stuff or
Yeah,
not.
like I feel very animalistic now.
Yeah.
Like it feels like very animalistic.
In the sense of like fear and aggression and desire and
Yeah, I've been feeling like very animalistic. And I think some of that was actually that energy being passed on to me without my consent because of
Right.
the attacks.
Right. So in this particular case, I mean, clearly there's, first of all, let's just all do just 1 minute of Tonglen for Joanne, if you're okay with that, Joanne.
That's a lot. But yeah, sure. Thank you. And not just for me, please.
Okay. Let's just do another. Actually, if we're going to do it in general, we'll do it for 5 minutes. Okay. But the idea is, before we do it, to just engage with whatever possible healing, trauma resolution, psychological stuff, but also just whatever nurtures you spiritually as well is just, obviously deeply important, so that you can come out of the sort of like fight or flight freeze mode, right, into something more open.
And please, not just for me, but
you made that clear. Yeah,
yeah.
no, we'll do it for everyone in the room. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so we're going to do our 5 minutes at the end here, but instead you can do whatever you want as usual, but I would suggest we do Tonglen for everyone in the room, especially including Joanne, if that's okay with you. Yeah. So that peace and healing and kindness and openness is something we can always offer ourselves and offer each others. And I encourage you to do that. I hope that helps a little bit. And I really wish you some healing for what you've experienced.